like a paper plane that's caught in winds that change. I've never sailed so high. Your love will be my lullaby. I'm like a paper plane, can't be afraid of heights. Don't know how far I'll fly. Just keep me in your heavenly sight. Fighting the rain, racing the storm. Who will catch me if I fall? Making my way, coming back home, from where the paper planes have gone. Where the paper planes have gone. Paper plane, my wings are made to fly. I've traveled far and wide just to find that true love never dies. And I'll navigate my way to you over hills and skies no longer.
I said to you quite tastelessly that more women died on the back seat of Senator Edward Kennedy's car at Chappaquiddick than ever died in a gas chamber at Auschwitz.
Dad, whatever the reasons that people become deniers, they often have an agenda which they won't admit to.
Why do you continually denigrate the work of David Irving?
You can have opinions about the Holocaust, but I won't meet with anyone who says the Holocaust didn't happen.
Professor Lifstad, I am that David Irving. And I've got $1,000 to give anyone who can show me a document that proves the Holocaust.
I will not debate you, not here, not now, not
Because
ever.
you can't.
You have consistently denied the Holocaust happened. You have called it a lie. And I'm just curious, I have some photos. These are dead bodies from a German concentration camp taken by the Associated Press. Is this photo fabricated? Is this photo a lie?
No. I'm asking you a different question. There are many historical events, similar historical events. Why is this one in particular so important to you?
Because you're denying it happened.
A suit to be filed in the High Court.
Miss Lipstadt has done very real damage to my professional existence.
What did you say about him? I think I called him a liar and a falsifier of history.
You better get yourself lawyered up.
A man accuses you of something and it's your job to prove he's wrong? In the US, there's a presumption of innocence.
Yeah, not in the UK.
This case is happening to you, but it's not about you.
Auschwitz is at the very center of Holocaust belief, so it's at the very center of Holocaust denial.
There were no gas chambers anywhere at Auschwitz.
You deny the Holocaust. You are entitled.
Yes, I deny the Holocaust. It's an extortion racket.
You are entitled to your own
investigation, if you did any honest investigation of the Holocaust, you'd realize that it is nothing but an international extortion racket by the Jews to bleed, blackmail, extort, and terrorize their enemies.
Here is one of the largest killing machines in human history. We know what it is. It's how we prove what it is.
What if we lose? Suddenly it becomes acceptable to say the Holocaust didn't happen?
The word denier is particularly evil.
Well, freedom of speech means you can say whatever you want.
The phrase is a poison to which there is no antidote.
What you can't do is lie and expect not to be accountable for it.
There are no holes in that roof. Therefore, there never were any gas chambers.
No holes, no Holocaust. He wanted a catchy phrase. He's got it.
Where's the evidence? Where's the proof?
Not all opinions are equal.
But I'm not a racist.
Caps are melting, and Elvis, it's not defending my right to stand up against someone who wants to pervert the truth.
There is just one thing that has not, well, bothered, I suppose is the wrong word, but I have done quite a bit of speaking regarding what has happened when people tell me, you know, the Holocaust really didn't happen. And I look at them and I said, you're right, it didn't. As a matter of fact, Hiroshima and Nagasaki never happened. In fact, the Second World War never happened. This was just the imagination of the English or the Jews or the Japanese. You don't argue with people like this. You don't give them a forum. The documentation is overwhelming. Do I have to sit there and explain, let me show you my number? I wouldn't dignify that with an answer. So being in Auschwitz for 2 years is either made you very strong or very weak.
I was quiet because I have a tattoo on my hand, because I didn't have the right clothes. We lived in a poor neighborhood, acknowledged that I was in the Holocaust, and the kids never talked about it. But later on, I have 12 grandchildren now, and my oldest was doing a mitzvah project, a charity project, and he wanted me to come and talk with him. And I can't say no to my grandchildren. So I did that. And Debbie and I, my daughter Debbie, were on a computer, and we saw a deniers group saying Auschwitz isn't so bad. Look at this picture, the kids aren't, that sick. And it was time to talk.
I didn't want to. But this kind of thing, Holocaust denial, I don't want to talk about it. I want to scream about it. Because I'm now in my 90s. And how long will I be here? And how long will the people who went through even worse times than I had? So we had to speak.
When you hear Holocaust denial today, what do you think? What do you feel?
It makes me sick. That's all I can say. There are no words that are going to express the feeling, because words come from thoughts, and this comes from my innards. And I could scream.
He said, I'll never forget, he said it to me, but we got it through our captain, word down. I want you to take photos. I want you to get everything down. I don't want my grunts. We were called grunts when you're on the infantry front. The word was grunts. I don't want my grunts to pick up those bodies. I want you to bring people in from town, the guards or the policemen, whoever's in these towns. Bring them in. Bring the trucks. Let them see the bodies. Make them put them on the trucks, because someday people are going to say we made it up. They won't believe.
Machen Sie auf, Gestapo! Sitzball! Aufmachen! Na, endlich. Ihr habt genau 5 Minuten Zeit, um eure Sachen einzupacken.
Wir ziehen weg von hier. Alles wird gut. Zieh deine Schuhe an. Los! Wie konnte das passieren, Henry?
Henry Neumann? Keine Angst, Kleine. Wir bringen euch fort von hier in einen sicheren Ort, wo Mama und Papa arbeiten werden, um ihrer Heimat in Zeiten des Krieges zu helfen.
Warum können Mama und Papa nicht hier in Berlin arbeiten?
Weil es dort, wo ihr hingeht, viel sicherer ist, meine Kleine. Und auf Berlin zurzeit so viele Bomben fallen.
Los, aufbrechen!
Nee, das ist eine Pappwand. Die Wohnungen haben alle denselben Grundriss, nur der Raum ist kleiner. Die Wand ist falsch.
Na los, hinter sich! Ein Geflügelhelfer!
Ich habe tausende deutsche Kinder auf die Welt gebracht.
Mami, können wir nicht sagen, dass wir gehen wollen?
Ich glaube, das geht jetzt nicht.
Schneller gehen. Beeilt euch. Los. Da ist noch ein Platz.
Jede Wette. Ich hab's doch gewusst. Miststück!
Bitte haben Sie etwas Geduld. Sie bekommen den Zug zu Essen und zu trinken. Bitte haben Sie etwas Geduld. Sie bekommen den Zug zu Essen und zu trinken.
Ich verstehe das nicht, Mami. Das sind doch Waggons für Tiere.
Das ist wegen Krieg, Nina. Es wird schon gehen, halt dich einfach an mir fest. Ja?
Und warum haben die Männer Waffen?
Um uns zu beschützen.
Beachten Sie die Durchsagen. Sie geben Sie sich in die Waggons. Den Arbeitsplatz erreichen. Hier geblieben!
Rein in diese Viehwaggons?
Nein, hier geblieben, du Judensau!
Nein!
Du sollst hier bleiben!
Ich steig da rein!
Was machen wir, wenn wir ganz große Angst haben? Hm? Die ersten Sätze des Schema Israel. Das hilft. Na komm. Schema Israel. Adonai Eloheinu. Adonai Echad. Baruch.
Shem Kevod. Machutu Leolam Va'et. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך.
Los! Los!
Gleich zu Beginn, vergesst eure Namen. Zahlen sind exakt. Willkommen in Auschwitz.
Männer.
Alfred Wetzler.
Halt!
Häftling 112240. Už nemôžeme ďalej čakať. Jo, zítra idem na to. Všetko je pripravené.
720 volts. There is no way you can escape. The wires are as they were. We shivered at the irony of the German sign, "Work sets you free." The size of Auschwitz took our breath away. Auschwitz is divided into 3 sections. It was primarily an extermination camp. Block 4 housed the first gas chamber. Nazis deported Jews from all parts of Europe and forced them here. Some were in cattle cars for days with no idea what awaited them. The Nazis continued to lie about the plans for them, their fate decided by a thumb pointing left or right. The calm was an illusion. Mothers had no idea that this might be the last time they'll see their children alive. The Nazis have lied. Hatred is their only truth. Prisoners sent to Block 10 knew they would die here. Barbaric human medical experiments were conducted in this block. The atrocities that were committed here still linger in the solemn air that surrounds us. The Nazis ensured each block had a sinister purpose. Nazis reduced these Jews to a number tattooed on their arm and a symbol stitched to their chest. But we see them and know their names. Every shred of modesty, dignity, and humanity was stripped away from them, forced to be naked and their entire bodies shaved. Women now unrecognizable to those who knew them. The few who survived are forever branded by their Nazi captors. People were stripped of everything, their glasses, their prosthetic limbs, and even the gold from their teeth after they were murdered. The Nazis gave the Jews false hope about their fate to make them more compliant, being deported from the Jewish ghettos because they were told they were being relocated and would need to find it later. The Nazis ensured each block had a sinister purpose. Nazis reduced these Jews to a number tattooed on their arm and a symbol stitched to their chest. But we see them and know their names. Every shred of modesty, dignity, and humanity was stripped away from them, forced to be naked and their entire bodies shaved. Women now unrecognizable to those who knew them. The few who survived are forever branded by their Nazi captors. People were stripped of everything, their glasses. The Germans collected shoes and told the unsuspecting Jews to tie them together so they wouldn't get lost. In the meantime, they were to be sent back to Germany for the war effort. When the Jews boarded the trains, the Germans told them to write their name on their luggage with their number so they could collect them when they reached their destination. It was all a ruse, a hoax. Their prosthetic limbs, and even the gold from their teeth after they were murdered. The Nazis gave the Jews false hope about their fate to make them more compliant. being deported from the Jewish ghettos because they were told they were being relocated and would need to find it later. The death block. Prisoners were naked and led to the basement to what the Nazis told them were showers. Each of these cans contained enough Zyklon B gas to kill 2,000 prisoners in 20 minutes. It felt appropriate that it was raining on our visit to Auschwitz. We had to move steadily through the buildings, and our hearts and minds couldn't take in everything we were seeing. Birkenau is just a 3-minute drive from Auschwitz. Birkenau has no museum. It held over 90,000 prisoners in 1944. 8 people were squeezed into each bunk. Over 400 prisoners were housed in these buildings, designed as horse stables. Nazis destroyed most of the buildings here during the liberation of Poland to erase evidence of their crimes. 4 more gas chambers were in Birkenau, and the majority of deaths were here, often immediately after their arrival. Toilets could only be used twice per day, no privacy. Due to unsanitary conditions, thousands died from sickness and disease. Jeffery Giesener's mother, Eva Friedman's family of 6, including my Aunt Edith, who was 21 when the family was deported to Auschwitz in May 1944. My Aunt Hendy, age 18. My Aunt Magda, only age 8. My mom, Eva, only age 15. Mom's mother, Sevene Friedman. Mom's father, Aaron Friedman. When the cattle cars emptied, Dr. Mengele, the angel of death, pointed Magda to the right, and her mother, Sevene, never let go of her hand. They were both gassed and burned together. My grandfather, Aaron Friedman, was immediately ordered to the men's lager of Auschwitz upon arrival. The three sisters who stayed together lost contact with their father. They didn't know whether their father was alive or dead. My grandmother Sevene and my aunt Magda, only age 8, were gassed on day 1 upon arrival from Kosice, Czechoslovakia, in May 1944, along with the majority of 18,000 Jews who were deported to Auschwitz from April and May 1944 from Kosice, Czechoslovakia. The Russians liberated Auschwitz in May 1945. The three surviving sisters found their father wandering the campgrounds after liberation. I often wonder what the three surviving sisters and their father thought when they saw the crematory chimneys billowing smoke and ash. My mom, Edith, Hendy, and my grandfather Aaron all survived Auschwitz. My mom, Eva, and my dad, Rolf Giesener, were both survivors. However, they never spoke to my sister or me about their Holocaust experiences. That discussion was verboten. Source, my first cousin Peter Schoenberg. The human imagination still struggles to understand what was done here. Auschwitz, where humanity comes face to face with ultimate capacity for evil. More than 1 million people were the victims of Nazi genocide, murder, shootings, hanging, gassing, and then burned. Women, men, children, babies.
I just can't imagine how people could do that to one another.
These young Germans, Christians, Jews, and Muslims visited Auschwitz, where some of the worst atrocities of the Shoah took place. Millions of Jews were murdered here. Today, Auschwitz is a memorial where the victims are given a human face.
To see the harm people can inflict when they have power is truly frightening. It was really intense. I need to process it all first. For us, it's a kind of museum, but millions of people's fates lie behind it. I visited a concentration camp for the first time this summer, Buchenwald. I thought then that now I was prepared for Auschwitz. Auschwitz is much worse.
These young people have come here voluntarily, on a trip organized by a German non-profit organization that works to bring people of different religions together. People who'd otherwise be unlikely to meet.
To be honest, before I went on this trip, I hardly had any contact with Jewish people. I'd never got to know any Jews. When we first went in, it was like, wow, this is where it all happened. But when we entered the actual buildings and saw all these pictures, it was really emotional. At some point, it became so emotional that I couldn't process it anymore. You create images in your head and imagine what it was like, but these images are nothing in comparison. It was 1,000 times worse. I came knowing that terrible things had happened here, and now I found out much more about it. What happened, where precisely. It's all explained in great detail. It was so overwhelming for me that I think I just switched off. I put up a kind of blockade to emotionally distance myself, which made me feel bad. because I felt it was kind of inhumane not to feel anything, not to cry or feel sad, even though what happened was so dramatic. I thought I'd be crying the entire time, because I'm a pretty emotional person. But it wasn't even possible to cry, because the mood was so oppressive. You were so angry at the people who could do something like this. I think that when so many do something, people think, well, it can't be wrong. Stressing. You've seen pictures of this online before, but it's something entirely different to see it in person.
The Nazis recorded the names of their 6 million Jewish victims. They can all be seen at the Auschwitz-Birkenau State Museum.
At first I thought there'd be just one name or a couple of names per page. But no, there wasn't a single free space. It was full of names. I looked for my family's last name, and there was a huge stack like this with our name. My family's last name is Baum, and I think there were 5 pages full of Baums. People don't realize that behind this name is a person who was enjoying life with his or her family not long before, and who never realized that something like this could happen. Some Jews didn't flee because they couldn't believe that something like this would ever happen. It needs to be like with any other country. Europe must also keep an eye out that international law is upheld and criticize countries that don't. But of course no one should be burning Israeli flags, because Israel is a long sought-after safe haven for Jews.
את חל הנשמות של 6 מיליון היהודים, חללי השואה באירופה, שהנהינו, שהנשחטו, שהנרפו, ושניפו על קידוש השם.
I feel that a lot of people, especially from my generation, are more open to other peoples, other religions, and are much more tolerant than the generations that came before us. I wish I could say that people have learned from history, but I doubt it. I don't think something like this could happen today.
Und sie mögen ruhen an ihrer Lagerstätte in Frieden. Und sie mögen wieder erstehen zu ihrer Bestimmung am Ende der Tage. Amen.
Ose shalom bimrama, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Israel, ve'imru, imru amen. Ose shalom bimrama, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Israel.
6 candles for 6 million Jewish victims of the Holocaust. Prayers.
And may they finally rest in peace.
Remembering them this Memorial Day.
I'm a little bit older than all of you.
Really?
So,
never. When were you born?
Pardon?
When were you born?
25.
No.
25?
Yes. He's older.
Ah, well, you're older. I was born in 27.
For these survivors, almost 8 decades on, the horrors of their past still permeate their present.
All Jews who were in there during the war, they all survived by miracle, because we were all meant to die.
And they marched through the street singing these blood-curdling songs. You know, when das Judenblut vom Messer spritzt, which means when the Jewish blood spurts from the knife, everything will go better. I was terrified.
I think there's an undercurrent of anti-Semitism everywhere. They don't like the Jews. I don't know why. It has been there all along.
Anti-Semitism is always there, and it has some reason, and then it flourishes, sadly.
Figures obtained by Sky News show a 104% rise in anti-Semitic incidents referencing the Holocaust in 2023. Over half happened after the October attacks in Israel, and reports involving Holocaust denial saw an increase of over 260%.
It's alarming, it's deeply concerning, in particular that the way the memory of the Holocaust is being distorted at this time when survivors and refugees are sadly dwindling, that community is passing. It seems even more vital that we fight Holocaust distortion.
And survivor Lady Milena has made this her life's work. She's travelled to hundreds of schools, educating students about her experience of persecution.
A lot of it is based on ignorance. If people don't know what's happened, when they're suddenly being told something, while we're still here, we can prove it was really true. It needs the young people to learn about the past and for them to try and make the world better.
As the nation remembers those who perished, the testimonies of those that survived are more important now than ever.
I'm like a paper plane that's caught in winds that change. I've never sailed so high. Your love will be my lullaby. I'm like a paper plane, can't be afraid of heights. Don't know how far I'll fly. Just keep me in your heavenly sight. Fighting the rain, racing the storm.